Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we've got some lovely new One Piece cards we need to have a little bit of a look at. One of my favourite artists is back. This makes me happy. There's a card from Dalton. I mean, it's actually a pretty nice card, to be fair. I just don't really care about Dalton. But most importantly, Rayleigh is finally here. And here's the thing, right? Because this was on the booster pack. This exact artwork, in fact, was on the booster pack. And we've kind of been waiting for a long time at this stage to see what this actually is. We've not seen what this card is. And it's kind of getting a bit silly at this point. With how long it took for this card to be revealed. Well, wonderful news, ladies and gentlemen. The card has been revealed, and we do now know what Rayleigh does. Is it any good? I mean, look, it's not as good as Kaido and Lin. Just putting that out there right off the bat. It is not on the level of Kaido and Lin. It's pretty gosh darn exciting nonetheless. So what we've got here is a red card, which we all could have guessed. 8 cost, 8,000 power. Oh, and by the way, artwork by Akira Igawa, who is my actual favourite artist. This is a good video for One Piece TCG art. And then what we've got is, on play, choose up to 2 of your opponent's characters. And until the end of your opponent's next turn, one of them gets minus 3,000 power and the other gets minus 2,000 power. Then you KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3,000 power or lower. So there's a lot going on here, but basically, you lower 2 characters' powers, one by 3k, one by 2k, and then you KO a 3k or lower. So, of course, if they've got a 6k on the board, you play this, you lower the 6 down to a 3, and then they can be KO'd by Rayleigh when he comes in. Or you can use other skills to bring them down, and you get an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,000 power even, if you've got the right combination of cards to bring the power down low enough. And it's not a game-breaking secret rare, but it's a pretty good, pretty decent card. The thing is, because it came after the reveal of Kaido and Lin, I think some people are a little bit disappointed. And the thing is, right, if you look at some of the cards we've seen revealed from this set so far, we've got the Kaido that makes you discard cards from your hand in order to attack. We've got the Black Maria that can literally put 5 Don into play at the same time. We got the Kaido and Lin that board wipes and then gives a 2-life swing. We have seen some redonkulous cards in OP-08. OP-08 is looking big in terms of new cards. And this is just a pretty decent, pretty competent secret rare red. It's got 8 cost, which is very expensive, and it's got 8,000 power, which isn't great for an 8 cost, but it's got a decent skill. You bring power down of a couple of different characters, hopefully KO one, and then you got an 8k body on the board. It doesn't have any counter, which is a little bit of a problem, and the power is fine, but it's not good. And you're only KOing a 3 cost or less, which is, to be fair, is a 6 cost or less in reality. But it just feels like a decent card. And when these cards are revealed, I go to a bunch of places that are talking about them and I try and see what people are saying. And the general consensus for that card seems to be, it's alright. Now, obviously, there are some decent combos that can be pulled off with this. This seems to work pretty nicely in red-purple lore. I know most things tend to work pretty nicely in red-purple lore. But of course, that's got a skill that gets a 3k at the bottom of the owner's deck. Obviously, you're not playing Rayleigh with this, but you can essentially lower one, KO it, and lower another for lore to get rid of, and then essentially using Rayleigh and then lore skill, you're getting rid of, I mean, essentially a 6k and a 5k. With nothing else on the board, with no other skills activated, you're KOing a 6k and getting rid of a 5k, or the other way round. And that's fine. That's decent. It's not a full-on board wipe, but it's not too bad. If you really want to be going for aggressive KOs with this, might I suggest Gordon? Because it's 1k and it can lower by 3k. So maybe you got a pair of Gordon, that's minus 6k, plus your skill is minus 9, and then you get to KO a 3k, and that is actually a 12k, which is like literally anything. So if you want to start playing around with Gordon, yeah, not bad. I'm not saying you have to play with Gordon, but I'm saying Gordon -3 each, it's -6. Rally's -3, that's -9. And then you actually get to KO a 3,000. So it's fine. You can get big characters with this. But we're talking about awkward combos. And like I say, this card is fine. It's alright. Decent potential. But we've seen some really special cards so far in OP-08. And I just don't think this is one of them. But how about we have a look at a lovely new Shakiyaku? And look, it's got Bisai artwork, who's my second favourite artist in One Piece. Love that I get to see both my favourite artists here. And we got 5 cost, 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000 blue. And during your turn, once per turn, when a character leaves play from one of your effects, if your opponent has 5 or more cards in hand, then they put a card from their hand on the bottom of their deck, and then you rest this character. So it's hand disruption, but it's quite a lot asked of you. Now, it is a during your turn skill, i.e. not a play skill, not a one-shot, you can do it multiple times. But essentially, you have this on the field, and then you play something to get rid of one of your opponent's characters, make it leave play, and then you get to get your opponent's, well, if they got a 4-card hand, then they fine. But if they got 5 or more, they get rid of a card. Then you rest this character, and you basically rest this to get rid of a card in hand. And this is a card that is looking pretty gosh darn good. I mean, what about Sakazuki? Sakazuki, which, to be fair, we know that's kind of going away. But this seems like the kind of card that would be a little bit silly in Sakazuki, because you're using stuff like Borsellino, for instance, to get cards off the field anyway. So now you're not just getting rid of their characters, you're also going after their hand at the same time, as if that wasn't enough. And the thing is, this works really nicely with blue, because you've got so many cards out there that do get rid of your opponent's cards, that take them off of the field, and this counters up with them very, very nicely indeed. This is one that I think might end up seeing a fair bit of play. It's one that people seem moderately excited about. And yeah. Leave it sitting there. Get rid of a card of your opponents every turn. And that seems like fun. But I told you I wasn't that excited by Dalton. I'm not. Dalton's just a bit like meh. However, this card's quite nice. This card's alright. What we've got here is 5 cost, 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000. On play, you give one of your opponent's characters -1,000 power for the turn. And you've got Dawn X1, activate main once per turn. You may add the top card of your life to your hand and gain Rush for the turn. Yeah, not bad, honestly. I don't know, it's taking life effects, which generally isn't really a red thing. It's a yellow thing. But Rush is very much a red thing. And this gives you card advantage. When you take a life, you get an extra card in hand. You have an extra card to use. You have what I like to refer to as card advantage. You have got more cards in your hand than you had a moment ago. And you've got Rush, so you take up one of your opponent's characters. And that's kind of the point here. This is an aggressive card. This is a card where you basically turn around and you go, okay, well, bad news. I've got more cards to play with now. That's probably going to be annoying for you in the long run. Oh, and by the way, I've also got Rush. That might also end up being quite annoying for you in the long run. I like this card. And I'm a very aggressive player in the decks I choose to play, not in my temperament. I like to think I'm, nice enough person. But we've got a lot of aggression within this card, whereby it's a 6k with Rush that -1,000 power to one of your opponents as you go. Yeah. And of course, if they happen to have a blocker that would block you, maybe they've got a 6k blocker, maybe you're -1,000 power. Maybe you make it so their 6k blocker actually cannot block you. That could be fun. And of course, sometimes taking one of your own life can be an advantage. Take Red Purple Kid, for instance. 5 life, 5,000 power as a dual colour, but if you got 4 or more life, you actually only have 4,000 power. Well, this will get you down a life, so maybe this can actually boost your leader by 1,000 while getting one of your opponent's characters to -1,000, while also having rush and getting a decent attack off the turn you play it. It just seems like a kind of card which could sneak up on a bunch of people here. This is one that I like quite a lot. So there we go. I promised you new One Piece cards. I delivered new One Piece cards. We've got Silvers Rayleigh, we've got ourselves Shakiyaku, and we got ourselves Dalton, and I think these are interesting cards. But I want to know what you think. I want to know if you think Rayleigh is a bit mid. I want to know if you think Shakiyaku is a little bit good in blue, or whether you have some kind of other opinion. Either way, I want to know in the comment section, so go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.